Hi guys! Today I'm going to share with you the step-by-step tutorial on how to make my Summer Horizon halter top. I had a blast making this top. It was definitely different for me to make something more form-fitting and flattering, but it turned out more beautifully than I could have imagined. Pairing that with how comfortable the top is and breathable, it might just be your favorite thing in your closet this summer. When it comes to making tops, I try to make them easily adjustable so that way you can make yours bigger or longer to fit your body type and be as comfortable as possible for you. So in this pattern, if you would like to make a different size than what I'm making in the tutorial, please refer to the pattern itself where I have size extra small to 3XL located there, all of the numbers for you to go with. If you would like to make a bigger size, just reach out to me and I can share with you the secret sauce on how to make the pattern numbers bigger so that way you can make the adjustments to make it comfortable for you. When I'm doing the tutorial, I will go ahead and mention where I stop, but feel free if you want to elongate or make yours bigger than what I do, just keep going. It is your top. Feel free to make it the way you want to make it. I am going to label this pattern as an easy level crochet pattern, not to be confused with beginner friendly. We are using basic stitches for this entire project, working with single crochet back loop only, the up down stitch, which is a double crochet, single crochet combo. The straps are half double crochets and picot stitches for a little bit of character right there. And all of this is something that a beginner level crocheter can accomplish, but we are working with a super fine size 1 weight yarn, which means the stitch placement might be very tricky for a beginner level crocheter. The level above the beginner friendly crocheter is easy, right before intermediate. And this is where we're going to mess with placement of the stitches. So when you are comfortable with your basic stitches, give this pattern a try and I think you'll have a lot of fun with it. Crochet by the numbers. All right, so this top took me approximately 8 to 10 hours to make. I used just 1 skein of yarn and my size medium top only took 386 yards of yarn. 1 skein of this yarn had 721 yards of yarn. So I was able to make all the way up to roughly a size 2XL with 1 skein of yarn because there was that much yarn in this 1 skein. I purchased this yarn from a specialty yarn shop. It was $50 a skein, though I did find it cheaper online and I put a link in the description section below for you. This yarn has a WPI of 22, so if you would like to find a substitution yarn, just focus on its WPI in order to find the best fit for this project. If you have no idea what WPI means, I'll put a link in the description section below for you for a cute little video that I made explaining WPI and how awesome it is. Materials. The yarn that I used is Concept by Katia. It's a Polynesia gradient yarn. So gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. Size 1 weight yarn. Again, there are 721 yards per skein, 660 meters, 200 grams or 7 ounces of yarn per skein. I used the crochet hook G6 4.25 millimeter. You're going to need a measuring tape, a pair of embroidery scissors, a yarn needle to go along with, and 6 wooden buttons that are 14 millimeters in diameter. In this tutorial, I will be making a medium-sized top, so those are the numbers that I am going to be referencing in this video, but feel free to substitute the numbers that I mention for the exact numbers of the size top you want to make that are in the pattern itself. For this particular project, I broke the top down into 3 different sections that we're going to be working on. We're going to start at the bottom of the top and work our way up. Section number 1 is just a single crochet back loop only rib stitch pattern. For the medium size, I'm going to begin by chaining 21. 1, 2, 3, 21. Great. For row 1, we're going to make a single crochet stitch in the 2nd chain from our crochet hook and then make 1 single crochet stitch in every chain all the way down. For me, in the medium size, I will end with 20 single crochet stitches. 19 and 20. Great. Okay, so for row 2 through the end of row 107, all we are doing is chaining 1 and then making a single crochet, back loop only stitch in every stitch all the way across. Now again, I'm making a medium size. So if you're making a different size top, just substitute that 107 stitches for whatever number shows up in the pattern for you. So again, chain 1, turn our work, look at the top of our stitches, find that V, and single crochet in the back loop only. And ending that last row for section 1. So this is roughly what you should be looking at. Obviously mine is a short example, but it'll have those ridges that are really stretchy, making this form-fitted to your body and super comfy cozy. We are now moving on to section 2. Section 2, we will not cut our yarn, not tie anything off. We're just going to move right into it and start working along the sides of section 1. We will begin by chaining 2. 1, 2. This chain 2 does not count as a stitch, so just completely ignore it. It's just getting us to where we need to be. Double crochet in the side of the first row. So that single crochet we just made, we're going to go ahead and double crochet into the side of it. There we go. Single crochet into the side of the next row. So finding the next row here and single crochet. One way to identify the sides of rows is each peak is created with 2 rows, 1 row on one side and 1 row on the other. So when you come upon that stitch, so double crochet in the next stitch, and then single crochet in the next stitch. That's how we will place our stitches. The pattern that we are doing is the up-down stitch, which is just double crochet, and then single crochet and repeat. Double crochet and then single crochet. If you're looking for a stitch count to be following, you will have as many stitches in row 1 of this second section that you do have rows. So we made, for a size medium, we made 107 rows. So I should have 107 stitches for row 1 starting section 2. Okay, you should end row 1 with a double crochet stitch. And then double crochet in that last stitch space or the side of that first row. Great. For row 2, we are going to chain 1, turn our work. Now for row 2, we want to work the opposite stitch that we did in the first row. So here I have a double crochet stitch. I'm going to single crochet on top of that. Next stitch is a single crochet. So I'm going to make a double crochet stitch on top of that. So we're repeating the same pattern of single crochet, double crochet, single crochet, double crochet. It's just a matter of where you're placing it. Again, double crochet on top of single crochet stitch and single crochet on top of double crochet stitch. If you need to go slow here to make sure that you are making the right stitch or placing your stitch in the right space, go ahead and do that. It's much better for you to go slower and take care and get it right than try to whip it up really fast and then find that you may have missed a stitch or two. All right, last stitch will be a single crochet stitch on top of that last double crochet. Remember, we do not put anything on the chain 2. That chain 2 is not a stitch, so we do not acknowledge it. You will keep that same stitch count that we had in row 1 because we didn't increase anything. So for me, I should have 21 stitches in both row 1 and row 2. Let's move on to row 3. We're now going to chain 2. 1, 2, because we ended with a single crochet. Turn our work. That chain 2 still does not count as a stitch. And repeat what we did in row 2, where we are still repeating the double crochet, single crochet, repeat pattern. but refer to what stitch was just made in the previous row. So I have a single crochet stitch on the bottom here to start row 3. So I need to make a double crochet stitch on top of that single crochet, and then a single crochet stitch on top of the double crochet, reversing the pattern. And that is it. That is all we are going to be doing for row 3. Ending row 3 with a double crochet stitch. All right, and then that's going to be the repeat pattern for section 2. It's just repeating row 2 and row 3 over and over again. You're going to know if you're doing a row 2 repeat or a row 3 repeat, depending on if your row begins with a single crochet or double crochet, and then you're just going to do those opposite stitches per row to get that awesome up-down stitch. It's so much fun, and I hope you really like it. It looks really pretty also. Okay, so for section 2, for a size medium top, I'm going to continue on through the end of row 40. If you're making a different size top, just look at the pattern to see how many rows you need to make. For section 2, I would also like you to have your tape measure available here. This is where we are going to really nail down the length of your top. So if you would like your top longer or shorter, this is where you can make adjustments to that. Section 3 is just 2 inches long. So it's the second section that is really going to determine the length of your top. If your stitches are tighter or looser than mine, then having this tape measure available and knowing, oh, I need to make a couple more rows to meet length, or a couple less rows to meet length, might be helpful for you so you get the size top that you want. All right, so all I'm going to do is keep working up this row 2, row 3 repeat, and I will meet you at the end of row 40 to show you what we do different for section 3. All right, so I am going to be pretending that I have just met all of the rows for section 2 and I'm ready to stop, because obviously I'm just making a little demo example. But if you will observe, which you probably have with your own creation, that section 1 is very much smaller than section 2. That is perfectly fine. What is happening is these ribbed stitches, the single crochet back loop only stitches, they want to compress inward. If we were to stretch them out, all of a sudden you'd see everything coming in line and lining up, the sides being straight again. Again, that's all because of those rib stitches, which is what we want for that bottom section of our halter top. So when you're ready to be done with section 2, this section is exactly how long you want it to be. Then go ahead and yes, we're going to cut off our yarn, then yarn over and tie off the work and set it aside. Section 3 will be made separately. We're going to start by chaining 12. 10, 11, 12. Now this is going to be the same for all sizes, so don't worry about varying sizes here. For row 1, single crochet in the second chain from crochet hook and make 1 single crochet in every stitch all the way down. And 11. We will be ending with 11 single crochet stitches for all sizes. Nothing changing there. Okay, so finished row 1. For row 2 through the end of row 107 for my medium size, I'm just going to make a chain 1, turn our work, and single crochet in the back loop only of every stitch space. Every row, 2 through 107, should have a total of 11 single crochet back loop only stitches in it. If you're making a different size, definitely refer to the pattern. And this will finish up my last row for section 3. What I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and cut a tail and tie off the work. Great. Next is about joining section 3 to section 2. So I'm going to go ahead and place section 2 below section 3, and right off the bat you're going to notice that they do not match up. And that is okay. Again, if I were to stretch this out to the same equivalent length, then they would match up. When we join section 3 and section 2 together, it is your choice if you would like to use stitch markers to join the two pieces together. It is not imperative when joining section 3 and section 2 together that all the stitches are a 1-to-1 stitch ratio. It can really just be all over the place when it comes to joining as long as they are joined together. You're going to go ahead and grab your yarn needle or tapestry needle and cut a good length off of the yarn for us to use to actually join these two sections together. Thread that through. Great. Okay, take 2 sides. It really doesn't matter. There is no right or wrong side with this pattern. And I'm going to go ahead and align the 2 side stitches. Grab my yarn needle and go through both. And then just tie a knot at the end, leaving a long enough tail for me to weave in that end at the end of the project to clean it up. Great. And then we're just going to go ahead and whip stitch these 2 sections together. I'm going to always keep those last 2 stitches pinned together and just loosely follow the stitches together and just go over and through both sides. And then over the top and through both sides. All the way across, regularly stopping, pausing, and checking to make sure that my 2 pieces are still aligned and that I'm not getting really heavy on one side. Again, feel free to use stitch markers if that works best for you. And the very last stitch. Great. Okay, when you have gone over once whip stitching the 2 sections together, I would definitely recommend you take those 2 sections and you pull them apart to see if there are any really big gaps you may have missed. Now is the perfect opportunity for you to go back and make sure that all of these joins are secure completely all the way across before we tie off our work. And so far, I am pretty happy with my join. So I'm going to go ahead and just tie this off. Great. And then leave a tail for me to weave in that end to clean it up and make everything look really pretty. All right, the next thing that we are going to do is go ahead and attach the buttons to the back. I found these absolutely gorgeous wooden buttons at Hobby Lobby that are perfect for matching up with the color scheme of this yarn. It was a great pairing. These are the size 14mm buttons, but feel free to utilize whatever you might have on hand. Go with whatever size or shape that is fun for you. Now we have a right and wrong side to our project. The right side of our project is going to be the side that looks smooth and clean on the front. The wrong side of our project is where we can see this bulge with the join. So I'm going to go ahead and look at my garment with the right side facing up. I'm going to go ahead and use my yarn needle tapestry needle, the same yarn that I've been using for this whole project. When placing the buttons, I will begin by placing one button at the very top and one button at the very bottom. These are the most crucial points that we want closed on the garment, right? The very top and the very bottom. And then I can go ahead and place these other 4 buttons. So I can go ahead and play around with it as well. Grab my tape measure and maybe see if I can get everything very evenly spread apart so that way there's symmetry in it and make it all make sense. Now to attach these buttons, I'm just going to go ahead and use my yarn and my yarn needle and join the button to the garment. Probably between rows 3 and 4 into the garment away from the side. When I'm done with my button, I'll go ahead and tie a knot on the back and leaving a tail long enough for me to weave in my ends, cut the yarn. Then I will repeat that process for every button all the way down this one side. Let's go ahead and move on to the button loop. So taking your yarn and your crochet hook, let's go ahead and flip this so the wrong side of the project is facing upward now. Fold your garment so that way you can see the button, and then fold the garment on this side so that way you can see the adjoining section on the other side where we will actually be making our button loop. You can either mark these with stitch markers or just go one by one with what works best for the dimensions of the garment. Making your slip knot and attaching your crochet hook. Slip stitch into the second row into the garment, or second stitch space depending on where you're hitting. So slip stitch to join the yarn to the project. Chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then slip stitch back into that exact same space that you slip stitched to attach the yarn to the project. And that is your button loop. Grab your scissors, cut long enough tail, tie off. I'll even make sure to extra secure this button loop by taking the 2 tails and tying a knot with them. And then both of these tails are ready for weaving in. Repeat this button loop along the side, adjacent to every button that you have added on the other side. Now that we've created the button loop and attached the button, the last thing for our project is to create the straps. When it comes to the straps, this is also a section that you can adjust. If you want to adjust the length of your strap, make it shorter so that the top comes up higher, or if you'd like to make them longer just so it's a little more comfortable and you have a little wiggle room, this is completely up to you. For the medium-sized top that I am making, I'm going to start by chaining 50. 1, 2, 3, 48, 49, and 50. For row 1, we're going to half double crochet in the second chain from our crochet hook, and then make 1 half double crochet stitch in each chain all the way down. We will end row 1 with a total of 49 half double crochet stitches. $49. Great. Now we're going to go ahead and move into row 2, which is just adding that really pretty picot detail that'll wrap around this half double crochet stitch row. We're going to start by chaining 1. Turn our work. Single crochet in the first stitch, and then picot. How we're going to picot is we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then slip stitch into the first chain that we made, and it makes this little bubble thing. It's really cute. Single crochet into the next 2 stitch spaces, 1, 2, and then picot. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, slip stitch into the first chain that we made, slip stitch, and then single crochet into the next 2 stitches. 1, 2. And that's the repeat pattern all the way along this side of the half double crochet row. Picot and then 2 single crochet. Picot and then 2 single crochet. 1, 2, 3. Slip stitch in that first chain. Single crochet in the next 2 stitches. 1, 2. And ending that first side with 1 single crochet and 2 single crochets. Perfect. In that very last single crochet stitch space, we're actually going to make 2 single crochet stitches. So 1 and 2. Let's flip this over and start working on the other side. So here's that half double crochet stitch. We were working in the top of that half double crochet stitch. Now we're going to start working in the bottom, making 2 single crochet stitches in the bottom of that half double crochet on the other side. So it forms kind of like this little circle. If you're not sure where I'm telling you to put your crochet hook, as long as you make 4 single crochet stitches in that last side of this particular strap, that's all we need to get ourselves around to the other side of the strap. This will also count as that first stitch before we start our picot pattern. We're instantly going to jump right into picot. 1, 2, 3, slip stitch, and then single crochet in the next 2 stitch spaces. 1, 2, and repeat the pattern. All right, I think you got this. I will meet you at the very end here to show you what we do next. Picot and end with 1 single crochet stitch. We don't need to go around or work around this side at all. It's not a big deal. So we will just stop with that last single crochet stitch. We will go ahead and just cut a shorter tail, long enough for us to weave in ends, but nothing else. Tie off. And this is what your first strap should look like. Look how beautiful those picot stitches look. It's so neat and so much fun. All right, so we are going to want to make 1 more of these for a total of 2 straps. Once you have made both of your straps, you're going to take your top. You're going to button up the back, have the back be centered like you would wear it, how you would wear it. That way the folds are exactly where you want the folds to be. So this will be on one side of your body, this will be on the other side of your body. Flip it so that way you're looking at the front of the garment, and then take your measuring tape. With your measuring tape, we are going to want to measure 2.5 inches from each side, and then mark that. You can mark that with a stitch marker or with a little scrap piece of yarn. Just mark this space on both sides, the front and the back, and then come to this side. Now that everything is marked where we want to place our strap, I'm going to go ahead and place my strap on the inside, not on the outside. I want to keep the outside front face looking very smooth and clean. Then I'll take my yarn needle, tapestry needle, and the same yarn that I've been using, and I'll go ahead and I will just secure this strap to the garment, weaving the needle in and out, however many times you need to secure this strap down, making it extra strong so it's super supportive and does its job. Great. When you are done, go ahead and remove your yarn needle, find the 2 tails, tie a knot, leaving a long enough tail for you to weave in all your ends, and then you'll come to the other side of the strap. Take the strap forward. Make sure that, again, you are attaching so that the right side of the strap is facing outward. You'll reattach some yarn to your yarn needle and attach on this side. And repeat for strap number 2. Okay, once both of your straps are secured onto your garment, weave in all of your ends, and voila! You have just made your very own Summer Horizon halter top. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and found it helpful. If you have any questions at all, go ahead and leave those in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching.